was supposed to be a fresh start. After months of searching, Alex finally moved into a small apartment on the edge of the city. It wasn't anything luxurious, but it was quiet, affordable, and far away from the noise of the outside world. For someone who just wanted peace, it felt perfect. The bedroom was the best part of the place. It was simple, yet comfortable. A clean wooden floor, pale walls, and a large bed placed right in the center of the room. The mattress was soft, the blanket warm, and everything about it felt inviting. A small lamp in the corner gave off a soft yellow glow, making the room feel safe. That night, Alex laid down on the bed, staring at the ceiling. For the first time in a long while, there was complete silence. No traffic, no voices, no distractions. Just stillness. It felt calming, almost too calming. A gentle breeze slipped through the slightly open window, causing the curtains to move slowly. The shadows in the room shifted with it, stretching along the walls in strange, quiet patterns. Alex closed his eyes, trying to relax. But something felt off. It wasn't something he could see or hear clearly. It was just a feeling, a faint uneasiness that settled deep inside his chest. He turned slightly on the bed, trying to ignore it. "This is just a new place," he whispered to himself. "You're just not used to it yet." The room remained silent. Too silent. As he lay there, ready to fall asleep, one strange thought crossed his mind. Why did the bed feel slightly colder underneath? Alex opened his eyes again, and for a brief moment, he had the unsettling feeling that something else was already there with him. The second night felt even quieter than the first. Alex tried to convince himself that everything was normal. A new place always felt strange in the beginning, and he believed his mind was just adjusting. After a long day, he lay down on the bed again, expecting a peaceful sleep. But the moment he closed his eyes, the feeling returned. At first, it was subtle, almost unnoticeable, a slight shift beneath the mattress, like something had gently moved under the bed. His eyes opened instantly. He stayed still, listening carefully. Nothing. The room was silent again. Only the faint sound of the wind outside could be heard. He exhaled slowly, trying to relax. Just the building settling, he told himself. Old apartments often made noises like this. It wasn't unusual. He turned to his side and pulled the blanket closer. Minutes passed. Just as he started drifting into sleep again, it happened once more. A faint movement, clearer this time. Not from the walls. Not from outside. From directly underneath the bed. His heartbeat slowed for a second, then suddenly sped up. Alex sat up slightly, staring at the edge of the bed. The darkness underneath it looked deeper than usual, almost unnatural. It felt like the shadows were not just empty space anymore. He wanted to check, to prove there was nothing there. But something inside him stopped him. A strange fear, quiet but powerful, told him not to look. He lay back down slowly, forcing his eyes closed, but sleep was no longer possible. Every small sound in the room now felt louder. Every second felt longer. And then came the worst part. A soft dragging sound, barely audible, as if something had shifted its position directly under him. Alex froze completely, because now he knew. It wasn't just his imagination anymore. Something was under the bed, and it was aware that he was awake. By the third night, Alex could no longer convince himself that it was just his imagination. Something had changed inside the room. Even before he lay down, he felt uneasy. The bedroom no longer felt like a safe place. It felt watched. The same bed, the same walls, the same silence. But now everything carried a strange weight. Still, he forced himself to sleep. At first, everything was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that doesn't feel natural. Alex lay on his back, staring at the ceiling, trying to relax his thoughts. But deep inside, he knew something was wrong. Then it started again. A faint sound, like something slowly shifting under the bed. His body tensed instantly. This time, it wasn't imagination. The sound was clearer, more deliberate, like something was moving slowly, carefully, making sure not to be heard. Alex didn't move. He didn't even breathe properly. His eyes stayed fixed on the darkness beneath the bed frame. The shadows there looked thicker than before, deeper, almost like they were hiding something solid inside them. A cold sensation spread through his body. Then came another sound, a soft scratch, like nails lightly dragging across the floor. Alex's heart pounded so loudly he was sure it could be heard. He slowly reached for his phone, thinking about turning on the flashlight. But halfway through, he stopped. Something inside him warned him not to do it. Not yet, because now it didn't feel like just a sound anymore. It felt like awareness, like whatever was under the bed knew he was watching it. And worse, it was waiting for him to make the first move. The room felt smaller now. He could barely breathe. The silence between each sound was heavier than before, like the house itself was holding its breath. And then, the movement stopped completely, too suddenly, as if whatever was there had realized he was no longer asleep. That night, the silence in the room felt heavier than ever. Alex lay still on his bed, unable to sleep. After what he had experienced on the previous nights, he no longer felt safe in his own room. Every small sound made his body tense. Every shadow looked suspicious. He kept telling himself that nothing was there, that it was all in his head. But deep inside, he knew something had changed. The air in the room felt colder now. He pulled the blanket closer, trying to ignore the growing fear. Minutes passed slowly, painfully. His eyes remained open, staring at the ceiling, waiting for something he couldn't explain. And then it happened. A faint sound came from under the bed. This time, it was not just movement. It was more controlled, deliberate, like something was preparing itself. Alex held his breath. The room was so silent that even his heartbeat felt loud. Then suddenly, from the darkness beneath the bed, something moved. At first, it was just a shadow shifting. But slowly, a shape began to form. A hand, pale and unnatural, started to emerge from under the bed frame. Alex froze completely. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The hand moved slowly, dragging itself across the floor, as if searching for something. Its fingers were long and thin, bending in ways that didn't feel human. Alex's mind screamed at him to run, but his body refused to move. For a brief moment, the hand stopped. Then, very slowly, it pointed upward, directly toward him. Alex gasped silently. His eyes locked onto it, unable to look away. And just as suddenly as it appeared, the hand disappeared back into the darkness. But the worst part was not that it vanished. It was the realization that came next. It had seen him too. After what he saw under the bed, Alex could no longer pretend everything was normal. The house had changed for him. Or maybe it had always been like this, and he was only now beginning to notice. Every corner of the room felt different. Every shadow seemed deeper. And the silence, it no longer felt empty. It felt aware. That night, sleep was impossible. Alex sat on the edge of his bed, staring into the dark room. He didn't turn on the lights. Something inside him told him that light would not make him feel safer. Instead, it would reveal things he was not ready to see. Minutes passed slowly. Then came the whisper. Soft, almost like a breath carried through the air. At first, he thought it was just the wind outside. But then it came again, clearer this time. Alex. His entire body froze. He turned his head slowly, scanning the room. Nothing was there. The room was empty, just as it should be. But the voice had been real. It had said his name. A cold fear spread through his chest. Who's there? He whispered, his voice shaky. Silence. Then again. We see you. This time, it came from under the bed. Alex jumped back instantly, his heart pounding so fast it hurt. He stared at the bed frame, unable to move. The darkness underneath looked different now. It didn't feel empty anymore. It felt occupied, like something was waiting, watching, knowing. He suddenly realized something terrifying. It wasn't just making noises anymore. It wasn't just moving objects. It was communicating. And worse, it knew his name. Alex slowly backed away from the bed, his breathing heavy, as the realization hit him fully. Whatever was under that bed was not just present. It was aware of him, and it was getting closer every night. By now, Alex was completely exhausted. He had not slept properly for nights. The whispers, the movement under the bed, and the voice calling his name had broken his sense of peace. He knew he could no longer ignore what was happening. He decided to find answers. The next morning, he went to the building manager and asked about the apartment. At first, the man tried to avoid the questions. He looked uncomfortable, as if he already knew what Alex was going to ask. But after a long pause, he finally spoke. What he revealed made Alex's stomach drop. Years ago, a man had lived in that exact apartment. He was quiet, kept to himself, and rarely interacted with others. But one day, he suddenly disappeared without any explanation. There were no signs of forced entry, no struggle, no evidence of escape. Just gone. The only strange detail police found was that the man's bed had been completely destroyed from underneath. as if something had been digging or moving beneath it for a long time. Neighbors also reported hearing strange sounds at night, scratching, whispering, and sometimes a voice calling for help from inside the room. But the case was eventually closed due to lack of evidence. Alex felt a cold wave run through his body. He returned to his apartment in silence, each step feeling heavier than the last. When he entered his bedroom, he stopped instantly. The room felt different again. He slowly looked at his bed, and for the first time, he noticed something he had ignored before. The floor beneath the bed was slightly darker than the rest of the room, as if something had been living there for a very long time, waiting. That night felt different from all the previous nights. The apartment was completely silent, but it was not the kind of silence that brings peace. It felt heavy, like the entire room was holding its breath. Alex knew something was about to happen. He could feel it deep inside his chest. He sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the darkness under it. He had not slept properly for days, and now he didn't even try to rest. He just waited. Minutes passed slowly. Then, without warning, the whispering started again. But this time, it was louder. Not just one voice, but many. Soft, overlapping whispers coming from under the bed. It sounded like they were speaking directly to him, surrounding him from all sides. Alex stood up slowly, his legs shaking. He couldn't take it anymore. He had to end this. He grabbed a flashlight and pointed it toward the bed. His hands trembled as he slowly bent down. For a moment, everything went silent again. Then he looked. Under the bed, there was no empty space. It was not darkness anymore. It was something else. A distorted reflection of his own face was staring back at him. But it wasn't just his reflection. It was smiling, wrong, unnatural, stretched too wide. Alex fell backward in shock. The whispering turned into a single clear voice. "You are already here." The lights flickered violently. The room felt like it was collapsing in on itself. And in the final moment, Alex was no longer in the room. The apartment became silent again. But now, under the bed, something else was sleeping, and it had taken his place.